Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel for the next video. This video includes database connectivity process. Basically, whenever we write any application, so database is an important part. So first we'll see that how to connect the database using this NetBeans. One more thing, first if you don't have any databases installed in the computer, so you cannot install you cannot connect the database through this NetBeans. So there is a Derby client which we are using in this video, database connectivity using Derby client. So this is inbuilt database which we can use for the connectivity process. So we have to use the Derby client for the connection. So what are the requirements for connecting the database? First we'll create database. Okay, then we'll create table in Derby client. Then insert some values. Okay, so this is the part of the table. Now we have to use driver registration. So we'll do the registration, then database connectivity, and afterwards we have to check add this, and then now database connection and add the jar file. So that jar file is known as library, you can say. Yeah, so now we'll start with this program. So go to this NetBeans file, we'll go to file, then new projects. We are creating this in desktop application. So from the categories we'll select the Java, then from the projects we'll select the Java application, then click on the next button, right? So I will write this program JDBC desktop application. Connectivity desktop application. Okay, so JDBC connectivity desktop application, and then you have to click on finish. So you have to click on this finish button. Now you can see that we are at the code window. The code which is not required, just select it and remove it. So I'm removing this code. You can see this package here, then you can see this class file here, then you have this main file. So whatever code we require, we need to type in this main file. Okay, then since we are connecting through the database, so what we'll do, you have to go to the services. So remember that whenever you are using this connectivity, JDBC connectivity, you have to go to the services, right? So just see that the services, just click on the services. From the services you can see the first tab that is called as database. So you can see here the database, right? So which is again you have to explore the database. Just click on the plus button, so it will be explored. Okay, since we are using the connectivity through this Derby client, right? So you can see the first one which is using through this MySQL. Second is that Java DB, so we need to create the database, right? So you have to select this Java DB. So right click on this Java DB for creating the database in Derby client. So right click on Java DB. Now you can see here this start server and the start database, this create database. So right click on Java DB, then create database. So write down this database. Okay, so this is you know that first application. So this I will write here CBS, or I can say here I will write here Sandeep as the database name. I will write here the username as a Sandeep here. I will write the password as a Sandeep here. Our username I will write here Sandeep. Then password I can say this, or you can say this username is this admin. Okay, then okay, so it will not use that admin password. So CBS I will take that CBS 123. Then the username is again this password is I will write a CBS 123, and the confirm password is CBS 123, right? Remember that this database name, even I will write also the name of the database is CBS 123, so it is easily understandable, right? So you can see here that I have written the name of the database is CBS 123, username is also CBS 123, and the password is CBS 123. So whenever we write a program, we can easily remember, right? So this is the first step. You have to create the database. After creating the database, you have to click on the button OK. So just click on the button OK. Yeah, just wait. It should be added to this driver. So you have to, you can just explore this Java DB. Now you can see here this I have just created the database that you can see here that earlier it was CBS. Now I have created this CBS 123. Now you can connect this. Right click and you can connect this. So you can just click on this connect button. It will be connected here. And after this, the driver will be added to this under the driver is. So that I have just created this database is CBS 123. Then the username is CBS 123, and also this password is CBS 123. So what next after this driver, because you have to use this Derby client driver, and this port number for this Derby client is 1527, right? So you have to just right click here. You know, already I have connected this database CBS 123, so you can see that the connect option is disabled here. Okay, now you can just explore this by clicking on the plus button. Okay, because the next part is you have to create the table under this database. So you have to create the table, you have to add some values here. So I will just click on this plus button, right? So you can see here the database. You can see that the CBS 123 which we have created is under this driver. Okay, now you have to again explore this database by clicking on the plus button. Now you can see here that the option is table. You have to create the new table, right? So when I click on the button, there are some options, right? So but there is no any table, so the option is a blank, right? So what next? You have to create the table. Here I'm creating the table. You can say that is student. Okay, so we'll right click and you can see the option is create table. So you have to select the create table, right? So after creating after selecting this option table, okay, now the next option is create table, right? So you can see here this the small window, and the first line you can see the name of the table. So here you have to give the name of the table. As I am saying that I'm creating the table student. Okay, so I will write the name of the table here, student. Again I repeat here the first row which is known as table name. So I will write here student. I'm creating the name of the table as a student. and I'm using this three columns. So what I am saying, I will write the name of the table here, student. Okay, and student table having, you know, that roll number. Okay, roll number, the name and the address. So I'm using all the three, you know, that three attributes: roll number, name and the address. So I will use here, you can see the option is column, right? So add column here. By clicking on this add column, we can add the number of columns. So first click on this bar. Now again you can see here the name of the column here. So what I am saying, that I am using the roll number. The roll number is roll number type is you know, that integer, will use the integer. So I will select the integer option, right? So then the size, by default, you know, that 10. If you want to make it a primary key, you can make it a primary key. Okay, just click on the button. So I have added one column. If you want to add more column, you have to click on that add column option, right? So as I have told you that we are creating three columns, so you have to create I click on this add column here. So I will again click on the add column. The next option is again the next column name is I will write here name. Okay, data type, I will be using here the data type as this character, and I will put the size as 20 here, right? So then again click on 20. Again the next column I have written here address, so I will write the address. Address may be that you know, the alphanumeric, so you have to use this option, that whacker. Then again I will put the option, this size is 20. I will right. Now if you don't want to add more column, then we know we are not going to click on this add column, right? So what we'll do, we'll click on the OK option. Okay, so just click on the OK button, because we are not going to add more column. We'll have only three columns, so we have added all the three columns, as you can see here: roll number, then the name and the address, right? So you one more thing, roll number I have taken as an integer, and also it is a type of primary key. So you can see here that primary unique here checked. Okay, now click on this OK button. Now this in the left side you can see under the table that the table student is added here, right? So you can see that the name of the columns, you can see the roll number, name and the address, right? So if you want to create the table, you have to go to this table, database, then right click, and you have to just create the table. Now I want to add some values. So if you just right click, then the view data, you can see here there is no any value in this table, right? So you can see here the column, this command is this select star from table name, right? But below you can see the roll number, name and the address, but there is no any value. So what to do, we have to add the values, right? So I think everybody knows that how to create insert the values in the table. The command is insert into table name is here that student, right? So but always we are using the name of the this database. So you see bs123 dot, then okay, and then the values. Okay, so this is the command while we inserting the values. So I'm writing here 101. Okay, then the name of the student is Sandeep, and this address is Mumbai. Okay, so just semicolon, select and run this. You can see the option here that you can see that the run SQL is the option, right? So you have to just select it, you have to click on the option run SQL. Now this value will be inserted. If you want to check this value whether it is added or not, so you can see again, you can run this. So you can see this, the table is added, the value is added in the table, right? Here you can see this 101 Sandeep and the Mumbai. Okay, some other values if you want to add, just say like 102, then the second value is Nilesh. Okay, and the address is Pune. Okay, so this is the second value which I have added here. Now I will be selecting this, I will insert this. Okay, it will be inserted. One more thing, one more row I want to add, so I will edit this value, this 103. Then again I will write here option, this the name of the student is Rahul, and this. Okay, so I have written this the third row. I will select and I will run this value. Okay, so now after that you can select this, you can you just run this option, you can see that all the three rows are added here. Okay, so the we have inserted all the three rows in the database. So we have completed one part for the database, right? So we have created the database, we have created the table, we have inserted the values, and after inserting the value, that you can see that values here. Okay, now the next thing is you have to write down the codes. That is the most important thing. So afterwards, what to do, we have to go back to this coding part, right? Now we'll go to this coding part. We have to write down the steps for the database connection. So the step number one will go one by one. The first step is, step number one is, that is driver registration. If you do it, this is driver registration process. Driver registration process. Okay. So you know that whenever you are writing the program, you should write down the codes within the try catch block, so that it can be easily you know that fetched if some errors are there. So what I will do, I will include this write the code between this try and catch block. So this try block and this try. Then if you're writing the try, then you have to use the catch block. So you can write here the catch block. Okay, and then we'll use the exception. Yeah, so we'll use the exception here. So control space bar, you can just press. So whenever you are using that, just write down this control space bar, you will see the exception, right? Then again that you have to just use this exception, right? So we are printing this if some errors are there. So this control system dot show some if errors are there, simply we will use this. Okay, now I have just encoded this try and catch block. I have surrounded that code within this try and catch. What I said, we are using the first step, right? That is the you know that driver registration process. So I will just within the try block, we'll go to this first step. Okay, this is what this is called as driver registration process, right? So you know the method for driver registration is always we need the method that is called as class dot for name. Yeah, so this is class dot for name. So just put a semicolon here, right? So this is the driver registration for the Derby client. You need to write down the URL for the driver registration. So what to do, you have to go back to the services. Now we have just created this database, that is CBS123. okay, so you have to just go back to this driver, just right click on that driver, then click on the properties. Okay, after that you can see that the small window, from there you have to write down the select the driver class. Okay, so here you can see that the driver class is that org.apache.derby.jdbc.client driver. You have to just copy it, this yeah, control C, I have done it, then paste here, control V. Okay, this is the driver registration URL if you are using the Derby client. So this is you can see the driver driver registration process for this Derby client is that org.apache.derby.jdbc.client driver. Okay. Now the second thing, if you want to see, because I am going step by step. Okay. If you want to see that whether the drivers are registered, you have just simply write down this one line, the system.out.println. Okay. Simply if it is registered, I'm printing here that driver registered successfully. Yeah. So simply I will put here semicolon here at the end. Yeah. So you can see that I have written the step number 1, that is the driver registration process. Okay. If you know that if the driver registered successfully, then you can see this output that the driver registered successfully. Okay. I will check the first option about the driver registration. Just right click, then right click and say run file. Okay. After the processing, you can see if it is correct, then you can see the output as the driver registered successfully. If it is not correct, then you will not get the output. So you just wait for this. You can see here that some errors are coming here, right? So something java.lang.class not found, org.apache something, right? So there is a driver. What I said, as I have told you, for the driver registration, right, we need to add the jar file for the Derby client. Without jar file, this program will not work. So you have to go back to the project, you have to select the projects, right? So my project is that JDBC connectivity desktop application, right? So I will select this. Now you have to go to the library part. Yeah, so you can see here the source package, the text package, test packages and the libraries. Now right click on the library and just click on the add library. You have to select the library, right click on the select library and add library. Okay. After clicking on the add library, you can see that the small window that again there are so many libraries will come, but for the Derby client the library is JavaDB driver. As you can scroll this file, you can find here the JavaDB driver. So JavaDB driver is a jar file library for the Derby client. Okay. So this is you have to select this jar file and just click on the add library. I will click on the add library option. Okay. Now you have to run this file. You just select this, just say run file. Now as you can see, you have seen earlier that some errors occurred, but now after this after registering the driver, you can see the first step. It means that the driver registered successfully, right? So that means it means the driver registered successfully. Okay, so we'll go one by one, step by step. Okay. Now the next step is we have to you know that step 2, we have to you know the database connection. So you have to use the database connection. This is the step number 2. Okay. For the database connection, we need to create the data connection object. So the method is connection. So control space bar, you can see the connection will come. You have to select this connection here. I am using that object for the connection. So connection con here, right? So this is connection, then the connection object equal to, the method is driver manager. So this is driver manager. Yeah, this is driver manager dot get connection. You can see this method here, driver connection dot get driver manager dot get connection, and see the URL for this registration process. As you can again we have to go, because this is here we have to add the URL for the database connection. Okay, we'll go back to the services, we'll go back to the driver. We have to right click on the driver, again click on the properties. Now you have to use the database URL. As you can see here, the database URL. Now click here, copy it. Okay, just save here. You have to just save. Now you can see here that JDBC :derby :/localhost, and this port number is 1527 if you are using the Derby client, right? And this is the database which we have created, but we need to add the username and password also. Whenever we are creating the that the database, at the same time we are giving the name of the database as well as the username and password. Okay, so we have to add this I have given this username as CBS123 also, and also have given the password as CBS123. So this CBS123. Okay, so I will use this. Yeah, as you can see that the name of this URL is this JDBC :derby :/localhost :1527/CBS123. So this is the name of the database, and this is the name, this is the username, and this is the password. I have kept username, password, and the database name same for the misconfusion. So you can use something else. It's not a question. So this is a database URL. Okay. So remember that whenever we are using the connection, you have to use this connection, then the connection object equal to driver manager dot get connection, and then you have to use the URL for the database. Now just click on this button. Okay, what I am doing, again I am checking the second step whether it is correct or incorrect. So what I will do, I will print here database connected, database connection successful. Okay, so if the second step is also correct, means we'll get driver registered successfully, and also this database connection successful. So just right click, you click on the run file. Okay, now you can see that below side driver registered successfully, then the database connection successful. Okay, that means we are going correct, because if you go if you check everything after writing the entire code, then it is very difficult to find out the error. So better to go step by step, right? What next? We have to create the statement. So the third step is, step number 3 is creating statement. So we need to write down the code first. So as statement, yeah, so you will see this statement, then the statement object, right? And see that there is a connection object. If I press that control space bar, you can see that con is the object. So you have to just select this con dot, right? The method is the create statement. So it will you can see here that the first one is which is selected here. Just press enter button, it will be selected. Just right on it. This is the code for creating the statement. This is the code for creating the statement. Then the statement object equal to con, that is the connection object, dot create statement. Okay, so then we'll go to step number 4. For the result set, you have to just create the write down the result set object. So create the result set objects. So step number 4, creating a result set object. Yeah, so this is I'm creating the result set objects. So code is that result set, you can see here the result set dot, I'm using the result set object. So result set object, then control space bar. We need that statement object, right? So stmt, you can see here stmt dot. You can see there are two things. Simply we need to display the values from the table, right? So there are two methods whenever you are, that if you want to update, if you want to delete, if you want to insert. So the method is execute update, but if you want to simply just fetch the value from the table, the method is known as execute query. So which is by default selected. Just press the simple enter button. Now we have to write down the SQL query here. So the name of the table is here student. This is the name of the table, you can see here is the student table, right? So student, yeah. So select star from the name of the table is student. So write here student. Okay, and we'll use the name of the table. So the name of the table is cbs123 dot. So this cbs123 dot student. So that is the name of the student, the name of the table, right? So this is the SQL query for selecting the table from the database. So this is cbs123 is the database name, and student is the name of the table. So this is I have created the result set objects. Now you have to fetch the value from the, so the step number 5, fetch the data from database using result object. Using result set object. Okay, so result set object is that res, you can see here, and we have to display on the screen. So the next is we have to check basically that if you are using the table, so it will check the value if it is present in the table. So the next value, so we'll use the method while. Okay, the method is that the rs objects, you can see here the rs object, rs dot, it will always go in the forward direction. So it will check the next value, you can see here the next, right? So while rs dot next, the method is used while rs dot next. Next means, for example, if it is in the first row, so it will start checking from the top left to the right. So while rs dot next, if the values are there, it will print using the system.out.println, right? So I will write here the system dot out dot println, system.out.println. Now there are three columns. Right? The first column is roll number. Okay, the first column is roll number, and the second column and the third column that are character as well as this. So if the roll number is what, this is integer, right? So this is integer, name is character, and also this address is that I'm using the character or varchar, you can say. So address is character also, or you can say the varchar. So for integer, the method is for displaying that This is called as getInt. The method is getInt. And for the character, the method is getString. GetString. You can see this. This is your first column. This is your second column. Right. Third column is also string. So this is the third column. Okay. This is the third column. Okay. So whenever you are printing this value, you can write here this first result set dot get. As I said, the first the first column is the value, like the number. Okay, so getInt. Okay, and in the bracket you need to write down the column value, like that is the index number of the column. So that is the first column. So this is called 1, right? So I will write down the first one. Then all the columns are the values are concatenated of this column, so that I will write the plus, then I will use the space through this /t. Then the second is also that rs dot, this is the second one is also that getString, right? So getString, you can see here the getString column is 2, the column index is 2 here, as you can see here. Okay, then next again I'm concatenating that value, this /t, then rs dot get string. Okay, so this is rs dot get string, and column number is 3. As you can see, there are 3 columns only. So I have written here the first column is that rs.getInt, right? So rs.getInt, then this in the bracket it is a column number. This is column 1. Then plus means that concatenating that. Then the second column is rs.getString, because the second is the this name of the student. Okay, so the name of the student basically it may be the character. Right, so it is the method is known as this getString. So rs.getString. Then again you can in the bracket you can see that the name of the column index is 2. Right. Then again the plus, that plus, this is for concatenating that value. Right. Then /t for the space. Then the third column is again that it is a character, or you can say the varchar. So apart from that, you know, the integer, the method is used at getString. So rs.getString, that the name of the column or the value of the column, that is the index number. So these are the 5 steps for displaying that value. I will repeat it again. That is the first column. The first step is for driver registration process. The second step is the database connection process. Then the third step is connect this, you have to create the statement. The fourth step is you have to create the result set using that SQL query. Then the fifth step, after creating the result set, we have to display the value in the output. Okay, so I have completed all those steps, and you have to just scroll down. You have to check whether it is any errors or not. If no error, just go and you just check that output. If everything is correct, the output will be displayed here. So still you can see that step number 1, that method is class.forName. Here this driver registration URL. Then second is that connection, the object of the connection object. Then the driver manager.get connection. Here there's a database URL. Then I have just used this system.out.println. If it is correct, then you can see this output here in the beginning. Okay, it is just for our confirmation. Okay, then step number 3, how to create the statement object. So then we'll use the create a statement object. Then step number 4, we have to just create the objects of the result set. Then we'll use this result set. Then rs equal to that statement object dot execute query. Since we are just displaying the data, we are fetching the data from the table, so we'll use the method that is called as execute query. And finally, after you know that creating the result set, we need to display that output on the screen. So the method is while rs.next, while this because why this rs.next method, it that the cursor goes in the forward directions, it will check the next value always. So while rs.next system.out.println, as I have told you, this if the numbers are there, then the method is known as getInt. So this result set object dot getInt, and in the bracket there is this is the column index number. Then second is that rs.getString, because the second is that the name of the student. So this is a character type, and in the bracket the name, this the name of the this column index value, and then the third one is that rs.getString, that is the third column index. Okay, now everything is fine. Now we can run this program. Just right click and you have to just say run file. As you can see here, right, so first two steps we have already shown. Okay, just for to check that database driver registration and the database connection. Now we have I have created the table. From here I can show you this this is the table which is created from the database, right? And the same data values are shown through the program on the output screen, right? So this is the table. There are three columns, there are three rows in the table. Okay, so after after running the program, as I can see this the output is okay. So this again I will show this this output screen. Yeah, so this is the output. As you can see, that the first column, this is the first row, this is the second row, this is the second row, this is the third row. Okay, even if you want to add more columns, more rows, then you can see that output. So friend, this is the output. I have used this simple Windows application for the database connectivity, right? So friends, keep watching my YouTube channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.